Oh, I got you.
You're amazing.
How does this work then?
They say it just like clips at the top, right?
Oh. Hmm. I don't think so. Cool.
My arms look huge. Huh?
I'm sure it wasn't mine.
No, it was my arm showing, just a big fat arm.
I don't know how to get this to sit on top one. There's no, that doesn't fit.
Oh, it's not the.
Rest it.
Yeah, let's rest it. I'm gonna pee. She's being a good girl.
We have more
Cord,
structure.
tape.
I don't know. Anyway, that might be fine.
So it's gonna go like a PowerPoint.
Okay, we have to fix that. Even this one. I mean, it's kind of wonky. Is that okay?
Mhm.
It's hot.
I know.
And then is this camera okay?
Yeah, lighting is.
Somebody at the ring light?
I mean, it's fine. Better with the light on. I think it's okay. It's just for some reason there's like a shadow. I think I have a light, that other light in my car I brought home. Should I get that?
I think this is pretty good. Yeah, I think we need something like
What?
some sort of light. You don't have that little one anymore.
What's the little one? In my car, I think. Do you know where my phone is? Because I left.
Yes. I don't know, but I guess I can get the one that I have. All right, I'll get the one I have.
That's good. And so, hi, Dawn. When we share the screen, it's the tab on the upper right. That made a difference. I'm muted. Should I get my earbuds?
I can hear you.
Hi. Am I still muted? Hi, Colleen.
Hi, Georgia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
All right. How's summer?
Good. So far, so good. Busy, just crazy busy, but all good.
Uh-huh. And Grace is home?
Yes, yes, but leaving in a couple of weeks.
It goes so fast, doesn't it?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Tomorrow's her last day of summer work, and then she's packing up for the next week.
Oh, cool. How,
Yeah.
what job did she end up getting?
She got a job on Long Beach Island in Beach Haven at Island Gypsy, which is a retail store.
Oh, that's a fun store. Kelly's bought a couple things from Island Gypsy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And
fun.
so busy. I mean, such a crazy, busy store. So she had a good work experience. She's always worked in like the ice cream business and stuff in the past. So this was truly a bigger job, a lot of hours.
Did she get a chance to make any money or did she buy clothes all summer?
She did start that way until I was like, no. That's not the reason for this job. So she did do a little bit in the beginning, which, you know, I expected, but she definitely slowed down in the end. But had a great time, Yeah, she wound up losing a bunch of weight over the summer. And so it's been a really good thing for her all the way around. So she's excited to get back to school. She's got about another week and a half. She moves in on the 20th. So
Can't believe it so fast.
I'm-
So hi, everybody. Hi, Carol.
Hi.
And Dawn was here. Hi, Casey.
Hi, how are you?
This is your new kitchen, huh, Casey?
Beautiful, Casey.
Thank you.
Right. Hi, Dawn again.
Hi.
All right, we'll get started in just a couple of moments. This is here.
There's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
hi.
Hi. All right, so welcome. We're going to talk today about kitchen staples and have a little cook along. So Casey and I are going to prepare some quick little things, maybe give some new ideas. And so we're just going to start by sharing my screen. We're going to just show you the PowerPoint. So we'll just start today with our announcements. Our next meeting is going to be getting ready almost. We'll be at that halfway point of our year. So that is going to be September 8th, and it's right after Labor Day. So we want to plan on being in person. So I do want to know who's coming because it's going to be fun. There's going to be surprises. And so we want to make sure that we know exactly who's going to be there. So if you do know of some people that aren't here tonight, if you could share that with them. We've tried to start putting a thing, save the date so everybody can clear their calendar to come. Okay, so that's going to be also the date that you're going to get measured. So in weighing in person, so that's some other things to do. And then the following week is where literally, or the following 2 weeks after that is that halfway point, and that's going to be another self-reflection. So that's going to be another component. But so what I wanted just to talk about today is like the tracking sheets, making sure that you send them in. We're going to do something different for this next month. This next month is going to be using your tracking sheets, but only picking 3 things. We're just wondering if maybe they're just a little overwhelming. Maybe there's too much to track. So maybe just focus on 3 things. And maybe we haven't focused on sleep. I think that's an important component that sometimes we forget to mention. So maybe if you haven't been tracking your sleep, start to notice, I slept for 8 hours, I felt really good. I slept for 6 hours, I felt like crap. You know, pay attention to that. At the same time, maybe you pay attention to late night eating or or drinking and how that affects how you feel the next day. So I want you just to think about it. So 2 times. So your first tracking sheet for 2 weeks, you track three things. And then the next 2 weeks, you're going to track something else. Or if you feel like, hey, I really still want to do this, you can do that. And then maybe this will be a little bit more manageable. And then the next thing I want to talk about is making sure that you log your weights on Tuesdays. Some people are doing that, but not everybody is. So just want you to keep on that. That's just another way to keep yourself accountable and keep yourself on track. So thank you for that. There's a few of you here that I know that haven't done that, so just make sure you get that done. And so our assignment to kind of is tying in for the next month is tying in what we're doing today is to pick a recipe. Like Casey and I picked our quick go-to recipe for a quick weeknight meal that's easy and delicious. So we want you to do the same thing, post it up in Facebook, and then try one of the women's recipes and then post about your experience with that. After you've done that, you're going to be entered into a drawing for a spa treatment, whether it's a massage or a facial, with an amazing B. She's an amazing massage therapist. So, and she's got 2 offices. One is in Memora. I know, Colleen, it's a little bit far for you, and I know it's a little bit far for you, Rosie, but highly, highly worth it. And the other one is down in Rio Grande. Okay, so that I think is something to motivate you to do this assignment. So once again, that meeting for the next time is September 8th. Okay, so that's going to be a really fun meeting. So really mark your calendar for that. So we're going to talk about kitchen staples. So we're going to show you, you got this in an email, it's in your course, the kitchen staples. Some of you already know this, you might get some other ideas on what else you may need, or maybe at the same time, what do you have that just keeps collecting dust that you kind of just get annoyed with, like time to like let go of it, maybe bring it to the yard sale, the Goodwill, or give it away to somebody else that needs it. Because when we have stuff that we don't need, it kind of makes us feel cluttered and not so good. So we just want to make sure that we have the right ingredients and tools. I think I already. Okay, so yeah, so this month, and I always think that this season, as we get into the end of season, into the beginning of September, is really a good time to start to clean, go through cabinets. What can I purge? What can I get rid of? So definitely take time for that. Maybe even, I know we did it at the beginning, but maybe even if you didn't do it, go through your spices and let other people know, hey, I did this. I threw a bunch out. Anybody need to order some basil? And sometimes when you order a big bunch of it, you can get it a lot cheaper and a better quality. So, and then maybe you can like divvy it up. So that could be something to do. And so here's the list that we wanted to really focus on, is make sure you have good knives. So this is a shun knife, and then we, have a good sharpener. Sometimes, making sure we have a nice serrated knife, and like a paring knife is good to have. Oh, you know what I didn't put on there is a peeler, a vegetable peeler. So sorry, that one's not on there. Another thing to have. And you want everything to be pretty easy to get, like a lemon press is good, a grater. I love having a garlic press. I mean, it's not necessary. You could always mince your garlic, but I love this thing. This thing gets used a lot. You can get a microplaner or just like a hand grater. Those are good things to have. And then, good spoons that you like, and spatulas and rubber spatulas, not having ones that are ones that you don't enjoy using or that are hard to use. So trying to find those things those are important. If you have nonstick pans, maybe you can consider getting rid of them and investing in some stainless steel, some copper pans, or some cast iron. Those are better options. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but when we use Teflon, they contain chemicals that can cause cancer. They are also obesogens. Those are things that contribute to us holding on to weight, that throw off our endocrine system. So they're convenient, of course, like things don't stick to them, but they're not necessarily good for us, right? So having a better quality pan is a good idea. And then of course, having different size saucepans and different size saute pans. You don't need a lot, like you don't need a ton, but make sure you have lids for them. Having some cookie sheets. And once again, maybe not having the non-stick, but if you do have the non-stick, maybe get some parchment paper. Oh, there's my puppy. Hi, Rishi. Hi. So we're already ready for her. We're going to give her a little treat because sometimes she's been barking. So put some parchment paper down so you're not using that non-stick, so that's not getting into your bodies. Or even some aluminum foil, or there is some like Nordic Ware has some non-stick cookie baking sheets you can use. And I love like having a good food processor. I have a big one here, and I also have a really small one. So I think those are good. I know Carol has shared many times her chopper that she really likes to use. So, having something like that. And then like a high-powered blender is really, really great. And once again, this is summertime, so this is a really good time to find. There's lots of people that don't use those things. So you could find those things at yard sales and thrift shops, Don't feel like just because it's a lot of money, you're not going to be able to find it. Amazon Marketplace, those are some things that you can find those things there. Immersion blender is another one for salad dressings or making some cream soups you could use. Once again, a can opener, a coffee grinder, maybe for your flax seeds or maybe some other spices. Having a wire whisk, steam basket, tongs are always good things to have. I think I pretty much went through all of them, but you also got that as a handout that you could print and go through. And these are just things that just make your life a lot easier. I'm just gonna go in. So, and then other things for strategies for success. Some of the things is like, let's make sure that we're organized, taking just a few hours, and maybe as you get better at it, it's only going to be, it could be less than a few hours, or maybe it's broken up into little increments throughout the week. But make sure that that's just as important to you as your hygiene, as far as taking care of brushing your teeth and taking a shower, is like making sure that you have food to nourish your body, right? That's really, really important, that you've gotten the food and you've had the preparation, and that you're not ending up, I hear so often people have all good intentions and they buy everything and then it all goes in the garbage, right? And that's not, useful. I'd rather you, just get a few things, use it all instead of throwing it out. Then the other thing you want to make sure of in your kitchen is that you remove clutter, get rid of clutter that may be, clutter, believe it or not, wherever clutter is, we don't want to go. So we're not going to want to go in the kitchen if it's filled with clutter. We're not, and that's really the heart of the home, right? That's where the success happens. Thing that works for me is multitasking while I'm cooking, right? So I'm doing a bunch of different things, whether it's like roasting some vegetables, cooking a grate, sprouting some seeds, just doing a myriad of things will really help. Maybe making some soup along. Like right now we decided, we grew this butternuts or spaghetti squash, so that's in the oven. So we have that going while we're in here working in the kitchen. And then the other thing that we can do is double or even triple recipes. And I don't recommend taking that recipe and putting in a big thing to freeze it, but maybe you take small amounts of that food. And so when you are busy, you can just pull that one thing out, defrost it, heat it up in the microwave or in the oven, so you're able to use that. That could be something to do. And then the other thing to think about is like maybe putting music on that's pleasurable to you while you're cooking and prepping, so you feel like you want to be in there. And then going through your cabinets and your drawers or wherever else these foods might hide is those foods that you buy in those vulnerable moments, right? Those foods that make you love, but sorry, my camera's falling down. You love, but at the end, they don't make you feel good, right? They don't make you feel good in your body. They don't make you feel good emotionally. And that's where you start to shame yourself, right? So like thinking about be willing to get rid of them out of the house because they don't serve you. Just gonna go to my. So what we're going to talk about right now is 5 different ways to cook vegetables. The first one is stir frying or sauteing. That's one. That's when we can make vegetables really quickly at a high heat. And the trick is making sure that we cut them in uniform pieces, and we start with the foods that are, take a little bit longer. Like we wouldn't put spinach in the same time we would put broccoli, right? We would put carrots in before we would put any of those leafy greens. So you want to think like that. The greens will go in at the very end. And then the next thing is to steam. You could, use a steamer basket, have a lid. That's another way of cooking your vegetables. And we'll talk in a little bit about how we could season afterwards. Rishi, down. And then when we're steaming, we want to make sure we don't cook too long. So when we grill, we can invest in one of those square things with the holes, and then like a grilling basket. That's something that's really beneficial. You could just take her out. Rishi, you're being noisy. Sorry, everybody. The other thing that I've been using that I really like is using my skewers. So I'm using these a lot. So you're just taking, they're really inexpensive, cutting my pieces and just putting them on, and I turn them a couple times, and it's really easy. When you grill, you can marinate your foods first, or just put them in with a little bit of oil and salt and pepper, or just flat on and then season it later. But there's lots of different ways. For me, lately, I've either used a balsamic or like lemon juice. Those are the 2 that I use, with a little bit of olive oil, some salt, maybe I'll put some spices in, and that's a really great way to go. Oops. And then roasting. Like we've talked about roasting, all different vegetables, from asparagus to Brussels sprouts to cauliflower to broccoli. We can roast everything, and that's just another one. I love to do lots of that, so I can use it throughout the week. I can eat it hot, I can eat it cold, I can add it to eggs, I can add it to salads. I like to mix the warm and the cold, so you could do something like that.
Georgia.
Yes.
Hi, it's Janine. How are you?
Hi, Janine.
You would put the carrots in first, I guess, in something like this picture you have, because they take the longest. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, like for like the carrots, like I would put carrots with sweet potatoes, potatoes. They kind of all cook around the same time.
Yeah. This photo has carrots and zucchini, and I'm thinking, well, zucchini would be done way before the carrots.
Exactly.
So.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I would put
mushy
zucchini. Yeah, mushy and green, like a ugly colored green zucchini. Exactly. So I'm gonna be careful of that. And so these are I'm going to just go over some flavorings for seasoning our veggies. So, and you have this as a handout, so you don't have to take notes. It's already done up for you. So just enjoy. But making things into Asian flavors is really easy. We don't have to necessarily go to Asian restaurants. We can do these things at home. Maybe it's not exactly the same, but it's nice to kind of learn what those flavors are. So grated ginger, some lime, pinches of even using pinches of the powdered ginger along with the fresh can really add to that. Soy sauce or tamari or Bragg's. Those are some things that will really, really help. So if you steamed your vegetables, or maybe you bought the frozen ones and you just put them in the microwave and you did this. This takes a couple seconds to do this little thing. You know, doesn't take a lot. Now, I say warm, but you don't even have to warm. You could just take a glass measuring cup, put everything in there and, you know, just whisk it up and mix it together. So this is garlic citrus butter. Now I know everybody's like, oh, butter, I can't have butter, but you can have butter. And this is just, I'd rather you eat lots more vegetables and, you know, a little bit of butter than, you know, toast and butter, you know, or slathered pancakes with butter, right? A little bit, this is a nice thing to have, you know, you want to change it up. Plus, believe it or not, butter has butyric acid in it, which feeds those good bacteria that are inside of our bodies. So it's really, you know, more and more research is coming out about how important it is to have healthy microbiome. So a little bit of butter is something that will support that. Okay. When I say a healthy microbiome, what does it mean? It really means like having strong immune system, having a healthy, happy mood makes a difference, and good digestion. All of those things really play a role. So we can do that. And this one's a really nice one, an herb lemon oil. So basically you're taking your olive oil, you're zesting, you know, you can use the grater and you're gonna zest the lemon, and then you're gonna add some fresh herbs, whatever you like, and a little bit of salt, and you can heat that up or not, you know, or just add it to your, you know, just toss it in with some tongs. Could be something that you do. And this is one of my favorites. I love Thai food. So you could use peanut oil. Now, if you have a peanut allergy, you wouldn't use that. Maybe you can use some sesame oil, which is good. You could even, I'm just going to say, I didn't put this here, but like some coconut milk could be something you use. Some of the scallions, some crushed peanuts, a couple squeezes of lime, and maybe a little bit of hot sauce. And that's a really great way to make a whole new thing. So if you're ever feeling bored in what you're eating, go back to this handout that you have and like just pull that out. Maybe take it and like put it up on your refrigerator so you have it to refer to. So, because sometimes we feel like, oh, we need to get the cookbook out, but these are ways of like really simply just making it your own. You don't have to be so attached to following all exact numbers, you know, just making maybe a flavor profile. And then I know we spoke about this many times, but making your own salad dressings is so much better for you, and they taste better. So just wanted to remind you that you're going to use 1 part acid, and acid is your vinegars, your citrus, to 3 parts oil, right? Whatever your oil that you're choosing to use. And you could be adventurous with that. You can use walnut oil, you can use macadamia nut oil, you can use the olive oil, but you can also, you know, try, if you wanted to make a little bit of like that Asian Thai, you could use some sesame oil with some lime, you know, and then add some ginger to it, you know, kind of use what we were talking about in the last couple slides. And this is something I think this is a great idea to use these use these different flavor profiles and have these spices. So what you would do is take 2 or 4 of these and kind of whatever dish you're using, just try it out and see if you can get that same flavor. So it's like what I'm inviting you to do now is to just taste your food, right? So when you're making it, you want to taste the ingredients to make sure they're going to be good. So now you've become one with your food. So Indian, some gram masala. You can buy that as a mixture. It's just a combination of some sweeter spices in there. A curry, you might want to buy a curry spice, or you don't use those at all and you kind of make your own with some turmeric and coriander, cumin, red hot chili pepper, cardamom, even a little bit of cinnamon, some saffron. So all of those, ginger, onion, garlic, tomato. they all play a role there. Italian. So Italian, you can, like we were talking today, and Casey and I were talking about, how can I go out to an Italian restaurant when we're always at it? We never get tired of it. Who gets tired of Italian food, right? And these are ways that you can totally shift. Doesn't always have to be exactly the same. So garlic, onion, celery, Parmesan, pine nuts, olive oil, lemon, parsley, red pepper flakes, oregano, balsamic vinegar. So there's different ways to make it Italian. Japanese, which is great using the fermented paste of miso. You could do so much with miso. Like Casey's going to do some roasted carrots in a little bit, but you could also do miso glazed carrots. So there's a lot you can do with that, even just to make it Japanese, with sesame oil, sesame seeds, rice vinegar, mirin, which is it's a cooking wine. So you have that. Central South Asia, so ginger and garlic and the shallots and the lemongrass. Thai basil, so a little bit different of a type of a basil. Cilantro, maybe getting some fish sauce, some coconut milk. So there's different things that way. Mexican, that's another one. Cumin, you have your peppers and your tomatoes and your avocado and your lime and your beans, so you can make that. Greek or Mediterranean, using some oregano. So Greek oregano is a little bit different. A lot of times they use the blossoms instead of just the leaves. So you could use those. Olives, rosemary. They use a lot of potatoes and thyme. And sometimes wild thyme is really good. Olive oil, feta cheese, tomatoes, onions. So you have those. And then North African. So they use a lot of, I know Casey and I have over the years used that Moroccan vegetable stew that we make. So good. It uses a lot of sweet spices, but you can use like harissa and mint and lemon and turmeric and parsley and olives and dates and cinnamon and eggplant. Carrots play a role, onions and ginger, paprika, cumin. So just thinking about just playing around and, instead of always following something to the T, what can you create? Because when you learn this skill, I can open up a refrigerator and have the refrigerator talk to me. Literally, it talks to me. It says, okay, you're gonna make this and that. Didn't develop it over time. It took making a lot of bad meals, but I didn't have what I'm giving you. Nobody taught me. I had to kind of figure it out. But when I did, I learned Indian food. So now I don't have to follow an Indian recipe. I could do that. Thai food, I can make a Thai dish without a recipe. And so that's just using these little things that we're talking about here. Because it takes the stress when you're able to use what's in your refrigerator and use what's in your pantry and have that not needed to follow a recipe book, but just, hey, I want to use what I bought and I don't want to waste my money and my resources. You'll be able to do that and create healthy, fulfilling meals, right? You're able to have it talk to you to feed where you are right now in that moment. And I'm going to turn this heat. It's boiling my pelvic area. Okay, so kitchen staples. I'm going to see if Casey wants to talk about those. Casey, are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
Can everybody hear you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this is just another list, more of food items, both fridge and pantry, but just some things that you might want to pick up next time you go to the grocery store. So we talked about the different types of oils. You can see that's where we start at the top. So extra virgin olive oil.
I'm sorry, I moved you.
So just going through and having the different oils for different types of applications. Maybe for salad dressing, use olive oil. For roasting and cooking, we use the avocado oil, since we talked about before with the different smoke points and being able to use avocado oil on a higher heat and still get the good benefits of the good fats. So that's those two options there. Flax or hemp oil, those are other options that you can try. Maybe if you are allergic to avocado or you want to try something different. And then different kinds of nuts and seeds. So we always want to get raw and unsalted whenever possible, just because that also maintains the integrity of those good fats and those anti-inflammatory properties. So when you're purchasing them, always try to find raw and unsalted. Nut and seed butter. So we have some options there. You know, there's more than just peanut butter, right? So almond butter is a really good option. That's normally what I'll buy. Cashew butter is a good option. Sunflower seed butter is another one, or sun butter. I know a lot of people who try that really like it. Georgia, have you tried sun butter?
Yeah, so I like to use that, and it's good to make those energy balls like with sunflower butter. Sometimes it's nice. It's not as sweet as say peanut butter or almond. So it's really nice to make a salad dressing with it. You know, like maybe you don't want to get out the blender and use it. You could just use that, add some water and some herbs and spices, and it's really yummy that way.
Yes. And then we also have our pumpkin seeds, flax and chia seeds, which I know a lot of you guys do use in either your smoothies or making chia pudding, different recipes like that. Hemp seeds are really good. I actually made little oat protein balls last night, and I rolled them in hemp seeds just to get a little bit extra fiber and protein and nutrients in there. Dates, I love dates. I like to use them as a snack. You can put some cashew butter or almond butter on them, or even stick an almond in the middle and eat them as a snack. Have a few of those. Or they're really good to even chop up and add into something like the oat balls or something like that. Raisins, same thing, but we just want to make sure they have no added sugars in the raisins. Sometimes they can add even more sugar when they're already super sweet. So just be careful with those. Maple syrup. So we want to get the real maple syrup, and that's one of the ingredients that we'll be using today, but just making sure it's real maple syrup, because that's what's going to be more of a natural sugar. It's not going to be the synthetic added sugars. And it's really not too bad if you do the proper portion sizes. So that's another key when you're using things like maple syrup, is measuring it out, because 2 tablespoons is actually a lot more than you think, and you can be satisfied with that. And then different types of vinegars. So having a balsamic vinegar on hand, I'm going to use a white balsamic for today, but also having apple cider vinegar is really good to make salad dressings with. Brown rice vinegar is good if you want to make some type of like an Asian style dish or like a sushi. Wine vinegar, so like a red wine vinegar is really good as well. And then this umi plum vinegar. Georgia, maybe you can speak about that.
So umi plum vinegar is really nicely salted. It's really nice to add to make like a cucumber salad. I like it that way. Or if I'm going to make a guacamole, it's another nice addition. So it's easy. Let's see if I have any. So it looks, Eden is generally the brand that I get, and I just love it. It's delicious. I just want to add, like Casey's going to use the white balsamic vinegar. That is so good. If you haven't tried that, highly recommend buying it. It's not always at every market though, but it's so delicious. It's like the one vinegar I go through the most. It's so good to make salad dressing with, even adding a little Dijon mustard. Did we put that on our thing? Dijon mustard? I don't know. If we did.
It might be in the next section in the refrigerated list. I love Dijon. I always make sauces and stuff with that. Okay, ready to leave off. So our whole grain, so that includes your oats. So that's like making oat balls and oatmeal and things like that. Quinoa, millet, teff is another grain, which isn't, I feel like you use that frequently, but if you've had it before, it's really versatile. Amaranth, brown rice, or black rice. So sometimes you can get like different mixes of rice or just one certain kind and kind of just make that. I like to use my Instapot to make rice because it's so easy and I can't mess it up because on the stove somehow I always manage to not put the ratio correctly. When you do it in the Instapot, it's really easy. And then I'll just usually cook it with, hi, I'm on Zoom with our group. We're on Zoom with the group.
Did you want to introduce somebody?
Oh, Anthony.
Hello, how we doing?
There's a glimpse of her husband.
You never come to him this early.
That's nice that you're able to be there.
Okay, where did we leave off? Okay, so that's the rices. And then the beans, so like lentils, black beans are the most common ones. Chickpeas, kidney beans, pink beans. I saw for the first time at Rosie's house. I never saw pink beans before. And you can either buy them in the can or dried. I usually buy them in the can, but just make sure they have the non-BPA lining, or sometimes you can even get them in little like cardboard containers, so you don't have to worry about that. And then our herbs and spices, you can just read at the bottom there, just a variety of different ones. You have your standard oregano, basil, thyme, and then you can do mint, fresh, or dried, parsley and ginger, cayenne if you like spicy, turmeric. Cinnamon is a really good one, especially if you like oatmeal, cumin, black pepper, and then our canned salmon or wild caught tuna just to have on hand for quick meals or adding into salads and things like that. The dogs are excited. Georgia, did you want to do this next page for me?
Yeah, sure. So back to healthy condiments. So soy sauce is one that we can use, and you can get a lower salt or a tamari, or I always like Bragg's. I don't know if you've all used this one. I just really like this flavor profile, liquid aminos. I think that's really yummy. There's that camera. Sorry, you're not going to be able to see this over top when we get to that part. So just let you know. And then miso, having a thing of miso in the refrigerator at all times is really good because you can use it for sauces and glazes and salad dressings and soups, right? It's a fermented food, so it adds to help keeping a healthy microbiome. So all these things really play a role. Like Casey was talking about spices. We're not just using spices to make the food delicious. We're also using them because they're high in antioxidants. And the more spices we use, the more we're going to have less inflammation in our body. And the same thing, different spices activate different parts of our brain that are going to make us happier and more fulfilled in life. So kind of think about that. Don't fall into, oh, just salt and pepper, you know, and maybe you don't necessarily like certain things, but try new things. You might not have liked it years and years ago, but just keep experimenting and trying. I know I've been spending a lot of time with my mom, and she's so stuck, wants to get healthy and wants to eat better, but at the same time, she's not willing to try many new things, right? And that's an obstacle, right, for her, because she wants to have her blood sugar good, she wants to stay healthy, wants to keep her brain function, but by not opening her brain to just exploring new spices, it's hindering her. So we, just like I tell Cassidy with Mia, like keep introducing. The more you keep introducing things, the more your body, your palate will get used to it, and it'll eventually start to like it. So I think that's the thing that I'm going to recommend you all do right now, is to really play around with that. Tahini, sesame seed paste. It's a really wonderful food, like in Mediterranean, even in Greece, it's used a lot, but it's also really cancer preventative. And so we want to use all of those foods as much as possible, because the environment is toxic, right? The foods that we're eating, the air, the water, right? So we need to use these types of things. Barbecue sauce, that could be something that's super sugary. And so learning to make your own. There's a good recipe on our website that will help you. Fish sauce is something else that you can do. And yeah, once again, back to the food labeling, is turn something over. It's got a million ingredients that you don't understand. And that's not your thing, right? Don't go with things that have less ingredients. Salsa is a great way to season things and just to easily make things, come to life. A salad, right? It just does that. Putting it on top of chicken and fish, you can do that. So you don't always need to create a recipe, right? You have that in your refrigerator and you could use it. But once again, it still has a price tag on it, $3-4, I don't know it depends on which one you buy. So make sure that you start to plan your meals around it, because the one thing I know is my husband loves to buy that kind of stuff. And then eventually, like, I'm throwing it out because it's not what I want to eat, but he has that kind of stuff, and it's just wasting money. It's like we wouldn't take dollar bills and just like, here, have them, but that's what we do when we waste food. So we don't really want to do that. Cocktail sauce, that's easy, you know, some horseradish and some ketchup. And once again, ketchup, we want to try to get the one that has the least amount of sugar, the least amount of, and we don't want it to have high fructose corn syrup. Sauerkraut, kimchi, those are your fermented foods. They're really good. They have their good bacteria to help your microbiome. And once again, just because in America we always have that feeling like, oh, it's good for me, I need to eat lots of it. You don't. 1 tablespoon. You don't need a ton of it, just a little bit. It doesn't have to be like hot dogs and sauerkraut as your meal. Like just a little bit, and you know, or even putting if you go to some of those salad places in the cities, like they'll put a little bit of fermented vegetables on top of your salad, and it just makes the salad. So you can experiment with that. If you don't like spicy, don't use kimchi, but maybe get some sauerkraut. We have a cooking class coming up in September on fermenting, so that might be something that you can learn a little bit more about. Hummus could be something, whether you make your own or have some that you buy. Just try not to get the potassium sorbate. You don't really need that. There's some with lemon that is natural preservative. And then your perishables, you know, we want to get your non-starchy vegetables. We want to get maybe try some tempeh, tofu, get seasonal fruit, frozen berries. I think it's important to have lots of those things around for your smoothies or in your oatmeal, because they're just delicious, right? And then for your meats, see if you can get pasture raised, wild caught salmon and other types of fish, or fish low on the mercury list. Organic milk, yogurt or kefir, and whole milk cheese. You don't necessarily need to get low fat. I had that discussion with my mom because my sister is trying to, her son is starting to get a belly, so she wants him to lose weight. So what she's doing is decreasing his milk from, it's like they went to 2% and they went to 1%, then they're going to go to skim. But what happens when you do that with milk is you're taking away, so now it's all carbohydrate. So now it's all it's doing is spiking the sugar in this child, and it doesn't have the fat, right? So it's going to slow that. So it's actually going to be counterproductive for him. He's going to want more and more of those carbohydrates. So if you're going to use dairy, try to use the whole instead of like the lower fats. It's like that's how it was, you know, nature intended. So Casey's gonna make some. Casey, are you ready to make some balsamic glazed carrots?
Yes, I am. I already did the first step since I have to roast them for a little bit, so I'll just show you.
So I think what I'm going to do you want to talk about this? Because I think we're going to try to get you so you're big and not this PowerPoint up. Okay.
Sure.
Or do you want to talk about the recipe first?
Yeah, or if you know how to switch the view on Zoom, if you switch it to, I think it's like side by side or speaker view, you can kind of like toggle the screen back and forth so you can see the recipe. And
side by side toggle view, she said.
Yeah, or you can turn it off. It's up to you. I have it on my phone too, so. It's no biggie.
So where would that be, Casey?
Up wherever the like bar is, where everybody's like faces are, it should say view.
The participants?
Yeah, it'll say view. Like mine's in the top right corner, and if I click it, you can do side by side speaker view. This is for everyone to do on their own screen.
Yeah, it worked for me.
Like that, and then I can see.
I just updated my thing today too.
Or whatever's easier, you can turn the presentation off.
No, it's not giving us any availability of that. Maybe go over to her and see. I don't know. Maybe make the co-host.
Allowed to multi-pin?
when I go up to mine, it says,
Co-host. And then she can do it.
side by side speaker, and then it comes up larger, and then I could slide it over so I could make the recipe real small and the person talking
Make
big.
her co-host.
Okay, yeah, I don't see that availability here. So Casey, you're co-host. If you wanted to change it, you could do that.
Do you want to just stop your
Share?
there? Yeah,
Mhm.
that's fine, because I don't want to
Stop.
mess up where you are in the PowerPoint. Okay. So. Can you guys see me big now, or am I still small?
Well, you could pin you, like I just
We can
pinned you
pin
so
her,
that you
so
got
let's
it.
go pin her.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Now you're there.
Good. All right, so let me just pull this up here again. So basically what I already did was the first step, or the first few steps, like preheating the oven. And then I combined just 1 tablespoon of the oil and salt with carrots, and I cut them into these like kind of big pieces. You don't want to get them too small because you want to be able to cook them for a decent amount of time without them getting too cooked. So that's all we did, and then roasted them. I think I put them in for like 16 minutes. It says 16 to 18. So then you're going to take them out, and then we're going to put the glaze on them. So you don't put the glaze on them from the beginning, because I guess like the sugars and the maple syrup would get kind of too burnt and too crispy. So this, let me show you how much we have. So this was a pound of carrots, and I don't know if you guys can even see this. Let me turn this down. But this is all the glaze I have for all those carrots. So it's really not a lot. It's only, I used avocado oil instead of olive oil just because that's what I like. So I only used 1 tablespoon of that, 2 tablespoons of the white balsamic, 1 of the maple syrup, and then there's only salt on the carrots from the beginning when they got roasted. So then all you're gonna do is just pour this over top and kind of zhuzh them around to cover them, and then bake it again, and that's kind of what will caramelize and glaze them as they cook for just a few more minutes. So I'm just going to use my whisk because it's already dirty. And I hate washing things. So kind of toss them around, and then I'll pop them back in the oven. It says for 5 minutes, but I'll just watch them and see how they look. And sometimes I like things a little extra crispy, so I might leave them in an extra minute or so. Just make sure though that they all have enough room on the tray so that the heat can get around them. You don't want any of them like right up against.
I'm sorry, you said 5 minutes? They're cooked for only 5 minutes?
5 more minutes after you put the glaze on. So I already cooked.
Oh, they were already roasted. I missed that part.
Yep.
Okay.
And then after you put the glaze on, you cook them for 5 more. So I'm gonna put them back in.
Okay.
1 second. Still. So there you go. Rosie's helping me. So that's it. So I'm gonna pop them back in.
So Casey, you just put the carrots in by themselves first?
So you're gonna preheat your oven, and then to start out with, you're gonna put them in with just 1 tablespoon of the olive oil and the salt, and cook them like that for 16 to 18 minutes. And then so they're
Okay.
almost fully cooked. Then you put the
Okay.
glaze on and put them back
Put
in.
them back.
That
Okay.
way, sugars and the maple syrup.
And it's just baking, no broiling?
Yep, just baking.
At what temperature?
Crunchy. You could probably broil them for like a minute or so at the end, but I'm gonna see how they come out this way since we got a new oven. So I think it'll come out pretty good. But yeah, you can kind of
Casey, at what temperature?
400.
Okay, 400.
Yep, and the recipe will go out to you guys as well, but I can even put it on Facebook too. So
I was thinking sesame seeds would be good on them too, wouldn't it?
Mm.
yeah, or
I think
pumpkin. seeds.
I've seen something like that before with sesame seeds on carrots.
Yeah, it recommends the hazelnuts. I didn't have any on hand, and I kind of like just like plain, but you can put whatever you want. Walnuts would be good too. So yeah, it reminds me of a recipe my mom used to make when I was younger, except she just would use globs of butter and brown sugar. So this is like a healthier version of that.
Mm.
So we'll see how it comes out. I'll have to give her my full review, and maybe she can try it. All right, so while that's in, Georgia, did you want to start on yours while my carrots finish cooking?
So can you spotlight me? Okay, so my recipe is making a very quick tomato sauce. So some of these are tomatoes that came from my garden, some came from a farm market. So we have those. I'm going to use a food processor. So this recipe that we're making, you know, it can be raw or it could be cooked. So today we're not going to cook it, but if you wanted to cook it for a few minutes, you could absolutely do that. That's totally fine. So I'm going to use my food processor here, and I'm going to first put the garlic in. And yes, I could press it or I could mince it, but I'm going to just right now just let the machine do its work. Once that's browned up a little bit, I'm just gonna add, I cut up some tomatoes, so it's like super easy. And then I have my basil. So I picked a couple handfuls of basil. So we're gonna use a lot today because it really is gonna make a difference. I know in the past I've used just this little bit, but the other day I put like all this in and it really made like, it was the ups from being good to absolutely amazing. So use a lot like you were using pesto. So just do that. Just do it a little bit, and then I'll start to add my tomatoes. So, you know, you can use 4 or 5. I think I'm using like 6 today. Some of them were small, some of them were a little bigger. And really remember, depending on your own, like I have a really big food processor, so you might not be able to put it all in at once, but this particular food processor I can. Now, the other nice thing about this sauce is if you wanted to have a little chunkiness, you can like not blend it as much. You could, or if you want it to be really smooth, you can blend it a lot. So I just feel guilty here throwing these. So I'm just gonna take like this part and I'm just gonna take the outside because there's still more use of the tomato. I'm just gonna do that. And these tomatoes are so good. Hopefully everybody's taking advantage of all the delicious tomatoes that are available right now. And I was telling Casey earlier, it was this weekend we made a lot of heavy food. Like we ate heavy. We ate out, and you know, it's like Sunday. We're like, oh, we don't really want to have anything, but we, you know, you need to still eat. So instead of making noodles, we made this with zucchini noodles, and then we had some sautéed mushrooms and some sautéed spinach. And so really, ultimately, it was a really nutrient dense meal, maybe 200 calories, but it really just helped us feel better in our bodies from the heavier foods that we have. So like using meals like this could really help put you, you know, just back in balance and just to feel better about yourself, you know, without feeling like you have to wait till you need that full blown detox, right? Just making one meal can really make that difference. Okay, so now I'm going to put the blender on again. And so I'm going to put a little bit of pepper. Now, I don't necessarily like too much of the hot pepper flakes, so I'm just going to put a couple in. But Callie does, so half of it's up. And then salt. I'm going to put some salt. And so these tomatoes were a little woody. I can't get the word out.
Watery.
Has a lot more water in it than the ones that I made the other day. So the sauce I made the other day was a lot thicker. So this one's a little bit thinner, but I just want to I don't know if you're gonna be able to see my thing, but I'm gonna taste it. Oh my gosh, it's so yummy. That's perfect. Like I could add to it, but it's so good. So that's my sauce. That was it, right? It took 5 minutes. So it wasn't like any big deal. Like if you have a lot of tomatoes, you can go in and do that. I started to take and use my zucchini noodles. I don't know if many of you are making zucchini noodles, but here's my zucchini thing. Yes, I have the fancy one, but I also have this one. You know, it was like $7.99. If you haven't, I highly recommend grabbing one of these. You can even get them on Amazon. And then all you have to do is just start to, it's such a good arm workout as well. And you can see, it just creates these nice noodles. So I know last time we were all together, Lisa was telling us about how she just like sliced them and made them like a fettuccine noodle. You can microplane them. You know, there's a lot of ways that you can make your noodles to be like noodles. You don't have to necessarily have all kinds of equipment. A knife is good enough. And then you could just saute it in with a little bit of oil. And even this, I could put a little, since I'm not cooking it, just for mouthfeel, I can add a little bit of olive oil to that, and that'll be really nice instead of just having it without any oil in it. It just will make it feel more delicious.
Did you peel your tomatoes?
I did not peel my tomatoes. I just let them blend in, and we'll see if I can show you. So you can see my sauce. Like I said, my camera. So, like this is actually so good you could like make it into a soup. That's how delicious it is. But you know, once again, remember most of your nutrition is right by the skin. So if you don't need to peel, you know, don't, unless if you know you have stomach issues and you need to, the lectins bother you, you know, peel your tomatoes. Like my mother, I made her a tomato sandwich, and then today I made her a salad. If I get rid of the skin from her, she's not aggravated, but if she eats the skin, it doesn't agree with her. So, but you know your body by now, you know what works for you. So that is my quick recipe. Anybody have any questions?
Looks good.
Okay, so Casey, are your things done cooking?
Yeah, I just took them out. Here, I'll put you guys in here. They smell really good. I wish you could smell them, but
Oh, look at that.
they just have like a nice glaze on them. I could probably leave them in for a couple more minutes, but I'm gonna follow the recipe and see how they are. And then
Can you taste them for us?
Oh, sure. They just came out. So
Oh, they might be hot. I know. Wouldn't it be nice if Zoom helped us let us taste foods?
Taste of vision. They smell really good. They're really good.
Yummy.
They're not too sweet. Like you get the sweet, but you also get like the balsamic. So really good.
Okay. Good.
You could probably do this with like other vegetables too. Sweet potato would probably be really good with this kind of a glaze also, or like beets, maybe probably even need less maple syrup since they're sweet. So.
Yeah, eggplant. I mean, you could use it for everything, like, you know, just so that's the so even if you're like looking for a new recipe and you wanted for our assignment for this month, if you wanted to use Casey's balsamic glaze, but you used it with another vegetable, that's something to do.
Yeah, really good. I want to eat them all.
So I just want to hear from you all as far as questions you may have, or reflections, or even talking about what since our last meeting where we were talking about like fiber and our awareness with that, if there are any new awarenesses that you have in your own being.
I think I put it on Facebook. But if you have Alexa, you can ask her how many grams of fiber are in, a cherry or whatever you want to name, and she tells you.
Mhm, mhm.
So you don't have to look it up. And I compared it to your chart, asking her something, and it was right on. So it was kind of
Mhm.
neat.
Yeah, thanks, Carol. Exactly. Alexa can do lots of things. I know I heard, I'm like to my husband, he was making salmon and I'm like, okay, how did you cook that? He goes, oh, I just asked Alexa how to do it. So, but then he asked her how to make hard-boiled eggs and messed them up. So, can't trust her for everything, or maybe it was the user, I don't know. So how about, did anybody track sugar this past month?
That's what I'm tracking the next 2 weeks is my sugar.
That's going to be enlightening. I'm just curious if anybody has tracked that yet and see what you've learned. I know, Janine, you were doing that. What did you learn? She's still here?
She's away from her computer. I don't see her.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Georgia,
Lisa.
are we tracking stuff that's the sugar that's in, or like added sugar? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes, that's a great question, Lisa. You're adding your added sugars, not the foods that are naturally in something, the added
Okay.
sugars. So like if you're having yogurt, for example, the added sugars in there. If you're
Okay.
having a latte, the added sugars in that. Ketchup, believe it or not, those are ketchup. What is it? Baked beans, barbecue sauce. Those are ones that you don't think, oh, well, no big deal, but those sugars add up really, really quick. Salad dressings, yeah, any of those low fat foods, right? That they're like, oh, this is good for you. This is going to cure every disease in the world. That's going to have a lot of sugar in it.
Georgia, what
Yes,
about
Lisa,
hi. What about like pastas and breads and stuff? Like, are we looking at, I mean, like that just converts so much, right? Or even a glass of wine or whatever. Are we counting any of that as sugar? Not that I'm tracking.
No, not
Yeah.
in those that like bread. Yes, you might see a little bit of extra sugar. Yes, but pasta they don't add extra sugar to pasta.
Okay.
But just remember the key that we've already talked about with pasta is like we don't want to just sit down and have like pasta with red sauce, right? Because that's just going to spike our sugars. And as much as then we're going to say, oh, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. I don't know why, But if we put that pasta, of course, we don't eat those big amounts. We have a small amount. We pair it with something like this. So we
Yeah.
still are satisfied. And then we have a protein and a fat. Then a pasta meal's like A-okay. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thanks.
Anybody else want to share? So Jimmy did come back. Okay. So how do we feel about being able just to track 3 things? Do you feel like it's going to be more doable than doing the whole sheet? I mean, if you want to do the whole thing, I know a few of you are like gung-ho and doing great with it, like Lisa Price, for example, like amazing, so just keep that in mind. Like you can just do a couple things, and if 3 is too much and you just want to do 1, that's okay too. We got to start with where we are. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Mastering one thing will make that difference of loving your body a little bit more.
Okay. Georgia, do you get them when we put them, like if I put it on healthy and I put it as a food, because I don't know how else to upload it. Do you get them that way?
So you could put it, yes, but I'm not going to necessarily know to do that. Like maybe you would send a message to me in the chat, say, hey, I put that here. So, because I could overlook that, but there's a way you could upload it into your documents, but same thing, you want to let me know, hey, it's here. And then I can find it. Okay.
All right.
And so just so you know, we're saving, each of you has a file in Google Drive, so they all get uploaded there, right? So you have, they're all there, like a lot of your information and your assignments. So you have, we're keeping track of what what you're doing.
Okay, because my last one I uploaded there into the, I just couldn't figure out how to do it, how to set it up and send it as a document. So I just. took it
Okay,
and sent it
so
as-
I'll find it then. Now that I know, I'll go back and I'll find it. Okay,
Alright.
that's great.
Can I share? There's an app
course.
called Scannable. And if you download it, you just take a picture of the document and it turns it into a professional scan. It doesn't look like a picture. And then you can email it to whoever you want to email.
Oh, that's good. What's the name of that, Lisa?
Scannable. And it looks like a little butterfly on there. And
good.
I do it with like all my legal documents, bank documents, like that kind of stuff.
Okay,
So
great.
Scannable, yeah.
That's a great idea. Okay. So did everybody mark your calendars? So literally we have a whole month without meeting. So stay on track, right? Stay the course. We're still here to support each other, right? We have Facebook, we have our community chat. All right, so use each other. And once again, use that, find a recipe, your go-to recipe. You probably already have one. Share it. You know, it could be so simple. It could be a Mexican salad, just something you put together that's easy, and then put it on Facebook, and then you'll try somebody else's. More the merrier. You want to try more recipes, that's great. And please do that, you know, before the meeting, you know, and definitely remember to RSVP. Yes, I'm coming to the September 8th meeting, or I'm not able to come. Remember, the fermentation class is coming up. So we have that September 14th. We do have the September 1st, the second part of the grocery tour. So please, you know, there was only a few of you that came from the group. So I really would like to have, you know, you come if you feel like you're going to get value out of it. We'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do more of oils. We're going to do yogurts, dairy, eggs, bread, peanut butter, grains. So it's going to be another full day. Just so you know, we were there for just about 2 hours. So it probably will be 2 hours again, just because there's it's a lot to cover. And just bring your questions that you have, you know, but you definitely need to sign up. Okay. So that's all we have for tonight, unless if you have anything else you want to add, or. Okay, well,
Thank you.
nice to see everybody. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Say bye, Sean.
Bye.
Bye, Rosie.